There's this idea that a lot of us hold on to, that someday we'll trade in the chaos for something quieter, more honest, more our own. And that we'll build a life that's not just lived, but crafted.
Doing this kind of work makes you really appreciate it more, you know?
For us, that dream led here, to these mountains, to this land. And today that dream begins with something simple.
That is a mighty fine table, Joe.
It might not look like much, but to me, this is our first real step. One small act of creation in a life we're trying to build from the ground up. Not long ago, my wife and I left our life at sea, trading waves for mountains, our sailboat for this 2.5 acres of wild land in North Carolina. And we're now on a journey to build our dream mountain homestead from scratch.
I can't believe that we might own this property.
But before we get started with our very first build ever, we want to introduce you to an old friend of ours who will be staying with us for the next week.
Okay, so this week I'm really excited because we have a really good friend, Joe, coming to visit us. And Joe was in the picture when Jordan and I first met each other ever. We were all working on super yachts. So Jolene was the chief stewardess on probably the biggest super yacht I worked on. So that was like 315 feet.
And I remember you came in and interviewed and you had like office wear on with a little like gray or navy pencil skirt and this like, I knew like from the very beginning, I was like, I want this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
You were smart and you had to like go get them.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah, I know.
And Jordan was working on the boat as a deckhand on the exterior team. Everyone on the crew was like so nice.
Yeah.
Except Jordan, you didn't say hello to me or even like introduce yourself.
I didn't want to appear to be into you because that like decreases your chances, I think. You know?
It's just kind of crazy to think because like for me that was a time in my life where everything was like new and you don't think about being older or having kids or like walking in the woods with an old friend.
Yeah, what are you gonna do later in life? Because we would meet so many people in yachting and then lose track of them. You never know what's gonna stick.
Yeah. Oh, and Jolene was a bridesmaid in our wedding also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to hear more about the build because we've been building all my life when I was a kid. It's gonna be fun to see Isabella learn those things and experience that.
You're gonna love it. I cannot wait to show you.
Yeah,
It's
I want to roll my sleeves up and help.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put you to work.
Yeah.
Get back, I'm so dry. Are you kidding me? My marshmallow.
Cheers. Cheers, Ma.
Good morning. How's my little sweetie pie? Isabella, you want to go do some work at the property? No.
You want Mom to stay home in bed? I guess I should do that.
Ready to do some work.
All right. Joe, you ready to use those guns of yours?
Rock and roll.
Nice. How about you, Scarlett? You ready to do some work? As you can see, I've assembled a very highly trained group of individuals to help with this project. Basically bodybuilders slash construction people. And we've got the truck packed with all the tools. And just last night, I installed this sweet new truck bed cover. Now I'm a little bit less concerned about tools getting stolen and I can stow stuff in here. So now let's head to the property because today is day one of our shed build, sort of. Before I explain what we're doing, I'm gonna head to the lumber yard and pick up some wood.
It's funny how little I know about building. Today was my first time ever going to a lumber yard, and I literally had no idea how it worked, where I'm allowed to park the truck, how I buy the wood, if I'm allowed to pick it out myself. And it's always a little awkward showing up to a business and saying, how does this work? But the guy helping me was super friendly and made my first lumberyard visit feel much less awkward than it could have.
Sweet, thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. What's going on, guys?
Having diaper and PlayStation.
Nice. Hello, Isabella. Joe, what do you think of the property?
Oh my God. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This view is stunning. Yeah, good choice.
Well, you ready to do a little work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Isn't it funny? What are they doing? Okay, guys, no more patty cake.
So last week, Desiree and I cleared out the area where we want to install our septic system, but now we've got a giant pile of brush that we need to deal with.
be in a Project Atticus film. Like, I've been watching it for years.
Yeah. Hey, and if you want to be in the videos more, all you got to do is come help us work. You can come here as much as you want.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So while the girls are working on that, I'm gonna be using this lumber to assemble our very first building project. Basically, we are not going to be able to close on this property for another couple weeks, so we don't own it yet. We've been given permission to cut in there. That's why we have all this brush. The other thing we have permission to do is I asked if we could build a shed on the property because we need somewhere to store our tools like right away when we start working here. Now, my dad is actually coming next week to give me a hand with the shed because I've never framed walls before. I've never built a structure before. I still need to design the shed and I still need to get all the materials for the shed. So that's gonna happen next week. This week, we're gonna be starting really small. I'm gonna be building a workbench / table that will make starting to build the shed next week a whole lot easier.
So we're starting our homestead build completely from scratch. So not only do we need a shed to store all of our tools in, but we still need to buy a lot of those tools. And so today I'm going to be building this table in a somewhat rudimentary way, but hopefully by the time we start building the shed next week, I'll have had time to get a lot of the tools that we'll need.
Oh, all right, buddy. I did it. I've got the 2-month-old in bed, passed out. Thank the Lord. Knock on wood. Hopefully she stays down for at least an hour. Then we've got Isabella all tucked in as well. But anyway, this is like my favorite time of the day when I just get to like decompress, have some time without the babies, like me time. But honestly, life with 2 kids has been like super crazy. And a lot of the time I'm just so burnt out and exhausted mentally and physically. During my downtime, I don't want to waste time like thinking about prepping a meal or making a big mess in the kitchen. So that's why I'm super excited about the sponsor of today's episode, Factor.
Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your door, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. With over 35 meals to choose from each week, including calorie smart and keto options, it's a great way to stay on track without the grocery store or meal prep. So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50Atticus to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box.
Okay, Joe, what we got going on here?
All right, I've got some Boursin cheese and some baguettes with sliced hamon. We have a lovely brie and hummus and delicious fresh carrots.
Do we have to pay extra to have someone hold a parasol over our head? Cheers, guys.
To our new home.
To the new property.
Yeah, which we have to name because it's getting old saying, let's go to the property.
Yeah, all the houses around here have a name basically. You know what I mean? It's like a thing.
Joe is saying something like a home port or like Atticus Landing.
Atticus Landing is cool. Could be Atticus Ridge.
Oh, Ridge.
It is a ridge.
I do love that.
Isabella, ridge or landing? Uh-oh.
Landing. She's like, what did I say?
Okay, Joe, you're the tiebreaker.
Oh man. Atticus Ridge.
Yeah?
The Ridge.
The ridge.
Okay, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I want Atticus Landing because it's boaty. You're landing in a home port on a ridge.
Atticus Homeport Landing Ridge.
Can you give your baby sister a hug? That's nice.
Okay, Desiree and the girls are on their way out.
Yeah, nap time for a lot of women.
Yeah. Joe and I are gonna keep going. So thanks, Joe. Yeah, way to go, nice. And I do feel like I need to talk about this tool bag. I can't even tell you how exciting it is. And I have basically everything I need on this belt. Freaking impact drivers and tape measures and squares and pencils. And I know it's kind of silly, but I'm very excited about it.
Presentation like this is how we do proposals.
Joe is taking a business call right now while she's cutting up the wood and dragging it over to the pile. That's working remotely, dude.
For me, from what I'm coming from with living in the city,
Yeah.
to be able to do this all day, what a dream.
Yeah, you like it?
This is the life. And this spot is choice. This
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah.
This is the spot.
I'll be honest, this took me way longer than it should have. The cuts aren't perfect, I second-guessed half my steps, and honestly that's because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm not going to become a builder by waiting to get good at it. I'll become one by building, badly at first, until eventually it all starts to click.
Looks like a table.
Looks like a table.
So right now, I'm not just making a table, I'm taking that first step on a very long road. And so far, I am loving every minute of it.
So Jolene wants to use something dangerous. So we're gonna get her to make some cuts with the circular saw. Unfortunately, all the easy cuts are done, so she's gotta do a 45. So I just gave her the walkthrough. How do you feel, Joe? Do you feel ready?
I'm nervous, but I feel ready. I'm well prepared. You've shown me all the right steps.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
So hold on, let me.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
You ready?
Ready. You got it. There you go.
Woo!
Yeah, nice one. I should make a disclaimer that this is far from the best way to do this. I ordered a miter saw online just yesterday, so it should get here next week in time for the shed build. And it's not a good idea to cut short pieces of wood with a circular saw without clamps. You work with what you got.
My first one.
Nice. You want to take that home?
Yeah, can I?
Souvenir. Joe.
Yo.
You want to flip this masterpiece? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoa.
You want to jump on it?
Yeah, you first. Nice.
You first. Yeah, ooh.
Dude. Yeah, that'll definitely work. That is what's left of that wood pile. It's almost totally done. And this is what the girls made out of it. It's like the tidiest wood pile ever. That's what you get when you get 2 ex-stewardesses doing a job for you. Turns out very, very neat and organized. Thanks a lot, Joe. Okay, Joe, so for all of your hard work today, I would like to reward you with the chance to paint this table.
Yay.
This is actually a great table for you to do like demonstration videos.
I know, we could do cooking shows.
Yeah, totally.
So you put it on heavy in a V. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Okay, here we go, Joe. Don't mess the last bit up.
Man. Bye, table.
That is a mighty fine table, Joe.
Mighty fine table.
Shout out to Paul Jedlicka. Wouldn't you agree that this is a mighty fine table, Paul? So we officially built something. So that's good. Thanks for your help, Joe. That was
You're
great.
You're welcome.
This view could make anything look really epic. You know what I mean?
This table is far from perfect. It's rough, it's simple, and it might not last more than a year or two. But honestly, I will never forget it because this was the first thing I built with my own 2 hands on our land. And that matters, not because it's perfect, not because it's impressive, but because even a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The kind of life we've dreamt about is built this way, slowly, imperfectly, and beautifully. And this is just the beginning.